Welcome to the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast on Mintwave Radio and all podcast platforms. If you're a coach, consultant, therapist, or healer with an online program and would like to find out how to grow your business whilst having fun podcasting, go to podcastprofitsunleashed.com/free. Let's dive into today's episode.
It's all about us.
And we are live. So welcome to episode 198 of, although it was Just a Coffee with Karen, it's now changed to the Podcast Profit Unleashed podcast. And today we have Julie Ann Meyer, and she is the president of Achieve TV. And actually today, well, we're going to be talking about a couple of things. She has her own show called Own Your Wellness, but also we'll be talking about how other coaches and experts, fitness experts, can actually get their message heard using Julie Ann's TV network. So it's going to be an interesting conversation today. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, helping coaches and therapists get their message heard through podcasting. So this is lovely to have the other side of this. So what inspired you to start this and be able to then help others get their message heard with your platform, first of all?
Well, first of all, Karen, thank you for having me here today. I've been looking forward to this conversation since we first spoke, and so it's good to see you again. But to answer your question, I still obviously have my foot in the transformational world, and it just looks a little bit different in how I tend to help people now. Obviously, I still deal with the health and wellness side of things, but as you mentioned, working in television as well. But what happened was actually quite by accident, and COVID hit, and I was working in a gym, and I was the health and nutrition director of the gym. And of course, in California, everything closed down on, I think it was a Friday, and all of a sudden I had no job. I had no idea how long it was going to be closed. I had no idea. So I took that opportunity to think, you know what, I always had the intention of this only being a stepping stone. I guess I'm stepping off that stepping stone a lot faster than I expected because I hadn't even been at that gym I'd been there less than a year. So usually I'm kind of a lifer when it comes to working with people. I ended up hiring a business coach who said that I should do an online summit in order to grow an email list to sell to. So I thought, okay, I could do that. So I started interviewing all these people in the personal development world, people that have been interviewed by Oprah, people that have worked with presidents of the United States. I mean, really well-known, famous types of people. And this was just jumping out of the gate. I guess I was stepping into the right lane for once because everything just came so easily. I mean, it was hard work, but it was easy for me to accomplish. And anyway, because I had so many amazing people, I was interviewed for different magazines, on different TV shows, and, just to promote the actual summit that I was producing. And one of the people that I was on their show said, hey, you should have your own show. And I thought, you know what? I could totally do that. I've been doing this now for a few months, interviewing people. I could have my own show. So that's kind of how Own Your Wellness started. My TV show is on twice a week and since October 2020. So there's a lot available to see and listen to. It kind of parlayed into how can I make more money from this and actually help more people. And so I created a program to teach other people how to create a television show and make money doing it. And that caught the eyes of the distributor for my show. And he said, hey, have I talked to you about becoming a network president? And that's how Achieve TV was born, just from following the yellow brick road.
I mean, it's just so uncanny, sort of similarities between how I got started. It's such a similar progression. And isn't it funny that coming from the health and fitness industry, I mean, I know for me, I was getting older anyway. So how I realized how much longer could I really do such a physically demanding job, because I was teaching the fitness. So, you got to lead from the front. and I was just exhausted. But why do you think that is? It's quite a natural next step, don't you think? Because you're still motivating others, you're still inspiring others, still leading from the front, right? Instead, you don't have to get sweaty.
Exactly. I used to be a bartender in New York City, and that's one of those things. Nobody wants an 80-year-old bartender serving them drinks. I mean, I might have been pretty and cute in my 20s and 30s, but I'm getting up there. So it's the same idea with being a personal trainer. How long can I lead the the class? How long can I be the example? And then there's the other part of it too, is if I'm not there, I'm not making money. What if something happens? So it's kind of like, the older I get, the more I've got to transition into something that makes sense for my future as well. While I'm still helping people, it still looks a little bit different than what it did, but I still get to be of service.
Yeah, well, you've always come from a place of serving. Let's just be honest, nobody gets into the health and wellness industry for the finances. Anybody I speak to who's got into that industry is purely because they are passionate about helping people. They are passionate about, and so you're doing the same thing, you're just doing it in a slightly different way now, aren't you?
Exactly. And it's kind of just proof that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to move forward. You don't have to be stuck in this particular identity for whatever it is for you, for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to look like that. Like you were saying, the through line, the thing that stays the same is this desire to help other people. It just looks different.
With regards to your whole, so you're the president of the whole network. So what does the process look like for somebody that wants to have their own show? How do you take them through this? What does it look like?
Well, I'm glad that you asked me that because what, as you mentioned before, you and I do something very similar. And to me, it goes hand in hand. It's not an either or sort of idea. It could be both. So it is similar to what you do, and which, by the way, I love and appreciate. But the idea is that, we have a conversation, we discuss what your show ideas are. Everything has to come from a place of being of service to others. What kind of value are you adding to the person who's watching your show? How are you giving hope, giving a message, education, entertainment? All of those types of things, because even yesterday I had a call with somebody who basically wanted to just sell his products, and I said, I'm sorry, this isn't the place for you. Because not that I'm all for making money, but it can't be a QVC or an HSN type of situation where all you do is peddling products. It has to be a place where people can go and get value for free. So yeah, I mean, it just depends on the person. I still have a very hands-on approach. I have an entire team that helps me, but I personally speak with every single host and we discuss how their show is going to look, what's going to be the best for their segments, for the background, all the things that make it look more professional, and then also discussing how to make money doing it, because otherwise it's kind of a vanity project.
That's the problem with a lot of people that are starting out is that if they're not getting anything back from it, it's how sustainable is it for them? Although, I've learnt the slow way. So my words would be, you've just got to commit to keep showing up. It may take time, but you will get there. But in your experience, what do you think holds people back from going, yeah, come on, Julie Ann, I'm gonna join your network and start my own TV show?
I love that question because, first of all, a lot of people think it's a lot more expensive than it is. But because of my history and because of the way that I've chosen to live my life and sort of the personal traumas that I've been through, I've really discovered that life is so short. And I really want to honor the people that have passed away in my life that I love dearly, and also honor the life that I've been given. And in order for me to do that, I need to be able to help other people. Because if I just help other people helping other people, then I get to reach more people versus just me. So I wanted to keep that barrier of entry low, and then we can build you up from there. But most people are like, who am I? It just comes down to like this imposter syndrome or lack of self-confidence. Like, who am I to be on television? Why would people listen to me? Or I've got a face for radio, or I hear all that kind of stuff a lot. But yeah, the two barriers are typically the lack of self confidence and also the misconception that it's extremely expensive to do.
And is there any other sort of, what do they need to be able to start? Because again, many might think, oh, it's all got to be perfect. It's all got to have
Yeah.
this really professional equipment. So what do they actually need to start?
I love that question because I like telling this part of my story. It's really not, there's no surprises when it comes to starting a show. You really just need a webcam, a good microphone, and some lighting and a background. I mean, who can, you could just even do it in your house. It doesn't even have to be somewhere like a studio. But my idea is it's always crawl, walk, run. You got to start and then you start improving because the most expensive equipment isn't necessarily the best anyway. I have had really expensive cameras. I have had really expensive microphones and lighting. And sometimes I still go back to the $30 jobbies I bought in the beginning. So, because I like them better, they work better for me. But when I first started, this is funny because I was in my apartment, I was living by myself at the time, and I had this one picture behind my couch. So I would set all my pillows up so that I could have the picture right behind me. So I'm sitting on a pile of pillows. I had my laptop sitting there with my camera on top. First, I didn't even have a camera, and I had every single portable light in my apartment in front of there so that I could have front lighting. So I really started with absolutely nothing. And here I am interviewing people that have been on Oprah. And so you
There
just
you
have to start where
go.
you are and it just gets better. But I wanted to create some income before I started investing in the show because I didn't understand at the time that there should be a minimal investment in the beginning. And now I know.
It is about the starting.
Yeah.
People put off so much because they think they've got to wait till they've got everything. But what else do you think can hold people back from actually, taking that leap?
I think that you sort of nailed it on the head when you said it takes commitment. And there, in the United States, there's this. It's a microwave society, and we want everything right now. But when you're an entrepreneur, and I don't care where you are in the world, it always takes longer than you expect and costs way more than you thought it would. So that's just how it works. And if we all knew that in the beginning, we probably wouldn't have started. But the thing that is important is to take the knowledge of people like yourself or me who have been there and done it. I learned the hard way. I've been doing my show since October 2020. It took me a good 2.5 years to really figure out how to monetize it and how to make it look good and how to increase my audience size. But there's so many different things that you can do to monetize. There's sponsorships. You talk to somebody and you can mention them during your show. There's product placement. There's we actually started selling the artwork, not for my set, but the artwork behind people to local artists. So they put up their artwork and they pay to have it there. So then it's being seen on a worldwide basis, and people are becoming familiar with their art. There's another host that I have. He in the first 2.5 months that he was live, he made $40,000 because he was just giving information about life hacks, about how to improve business and how to live more happy and with joy. And all he did was say, if you want to learn more, go to my website. And that's how he made 40 grand. So, I mean, there's just a bunch of different ways. You never want to sell anybody anything, but when people get to know you and you are adding value, they automatically are more drawn to who you are and want to work with you if it makes sense for them. And that's your people. So, it's not egotistical to offer something and to people who want it. And they won't know that you have it if you don't tell anybody.
Subtle approach, isn't it? It is all about building on know, like, and trust. You get told from all these internet gurus, you've got to be doing this and doing that on social media. And I just found it exhausting. And I don't like photos. I'm not one to take selfies. Yeah, I just, I'd rather be here and present my whole self rather than a sort of frozen image. So for me, it's just a way to be, just to show up as your authentic self. You have to, right? Because you couldn't put on an act for that long.
Exactly. The real you is going to shine through at some point. And that's the thing too, is everybody likes to buy, but nobody likes to be sold to. There's something smarmy about that. Nobody wants to be pushed into paying for something. I've never been one of the, sales techniques that always rubs me the wrong way is act fast, or you have 1 week, or filling up quickly. I mean, I understand the sense of urgency, but at the same time, if it's not going to be available, then, I don't ever want to convince somebody into something, because then they can be just as easily convinced out of it. I want people who are going to be committed to themselves, and I will be committed to them as well.
Totally agree. The beauty of doing this kind of thing, whether you're doing it on video or audio, that you are able to reach a wider audience. And it is that sort of slowly approach where people, you have the opportunity to showcase, obviously, your authentic self, but also demonstrate how you can help people. This is a much more fun way to be able to slowly bring people into your world without having to sell to. You also don't have to face any rejection either.
That's true. That is very true. For me, I've discovered I'm like you with social media, and it's not my thing. It doesn't resonate with me. I mean, I like to share personal things like me getting married recently. I'll share pictures about that, or funny stuff to make people laugh, or memories and things like that. But I'm not using social media to sell. And I understand that that is quite the vehicle to use, but it doesn't resonate with me. And I'm not going to keep forcing myself to do something that doesn't feel right. There are so many other ways to show up in the world. It does not have to look the way that everybody else does it. And like with having TV as my new vehicle of doing things, I'm the leading person with our distributor. I outshine everyone else as far as getting shows started and analytics for the shows, things like those nature. And the reason why is because I'm never trying to sell anybody anything. I'm teaching other people how to get their message out. And that just automatically works for so many different types of people like myself and like you, where it's like, I'm not into that social media business, but why not create the wave instead of writing someone else's? The 4-minute mile was impossible until somebody did it. Personally, I'd rather just create my own way of doing it. I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I'm making it mine.
And so tell us a little bit more about actually the show that you host as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my baby.